Welcome back everybody to the Madison Family Farm. Today I'm going to take a break from deer hunting. I'm going to make up some maple candy with some leftover syrup that we have from last year. Christmas is coming up, so we got to make some of these up for giving out from gift baskets for Christmas. The first thing I need is a fairly deep big pan. My syrup I have is like the end of the season syrup that I have. It's a darker syrup that was left over from the end of last year. We'll cook this up, and I've made it before with this, and it comes out just as good as using regular plain light colored syrup. So let's get started on making this. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is get my jar opened up here. And with this syrup, usually a lot of times there's still, even though it's been filtered several times, it gets a little bit of sediment in the bottom of the jar. So I usually just pour off the good stuff on the top until I start seeing that sediment in the bottom, and then I'll just leave that sediment and just use the good syrup that's on the top. Oh, there it is. Just started seeing it. It's not very much. There's just a little bit in there. There's always just a little bit of sediment in the bottom. Alright, so now I'm just setting this at low, medium, and I'm going to let it come up to temperature. It's going to come up to 236 degrees. You kind of got to watch it, because when it starts getting close there, it starts bubbling up a whole lot, and it could boil over your pan. One of the other things I like to do, I like to take a little bit of Pam, spray down the insides of my molds. I'm going to take a little Pam and just kind of spritz these down just a little bit. Take a paper towel in here, kind of wipe them out a little bit so I don't have no major spots of oil in there. Kind of helps keep them from sticking in there a little bit. Kind of dab it around in there. You can see this kind of starting to bubble over. So one thing I'm going to do, I take a little bit of butter, kind of run it around the outside of this. It'll help keep your foaming down a little bit. Helps control a little bit. Put a couple drops in there. Foam kind of settles a little bit so it won't boil over in your pan. Alright, you see that? I took that right down. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to take a thermometer and check this and see what temperature it's running at. We're looking for a 236. So about 220 right. So it's about 220 right now, and we're just going to let that keep going. Still got a little ways to go before it gets up there. There's 236 right there. Alright, now I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn the burner off. What I want to do now is let that cool down to about 200 degrees, 205, and I'll start stirring it until it kind of becomes a granular type mixture. You kind of feel the sugar start binding together. So what I'm going to do is just stick that thermometer right there on the side of the pan so I can kind of keep an eye on the temperature. When it gets down around 200 degrees, we'll pull it out, start stirring this stuff up and start mixing it. Alright, we're about 205 degrees right now, so I'm going to start stirring on this. I start getting it mixed up. I'm just using a wooden spoon. Just kind of start stirring it and mixing it. And you'll kind of notice when you see it, it kind of has a white granular texture to it. You kind of see, you can feel the sugar in the bottom of the pan when it starts getting close. And you also notice it'll start turning a lighter color, kind of a white almost. And it's kind of a look, feel kind of thing when you're doing it. You really don't want your temperature to get too low, because if it gets too low, then it hardens too fast. So just keep kind of mixing it and watching it, and you'll start feeling those sugar grains in the bottom of the pan when it gets close. See it? Looks pretty dark right now, but I can see it starting to lighten up. I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera, but I'm just trying to kind of keep stirring it. moving it around. You'll see where you slopped up on the side, it'll start getting real sugary on the edges a little bit. Alright, now I'm starting to feel the grains of sugar in here. So it's getting real close. I think I'm going to pour this in my jar. You feel it starting to bunch up in the bottom of the pan. You kind of feel the sugar just dragging on the spoon. So it's probably getting pretty close right now. So I'm going to pour this in my jar over here. Take my jar and very fast try to pour it into my mold before it starts hardening. Alright, there's all the molds poured. This was a quart jar of maple syrup. And we have a little bit left over. I have a little bit of an Easter mold, so I always just set it out there just in case I have a little bit left over. A lot of these I'll probably just use for Christmas stuff, though. We'll put them in little gift baskets or something like that so we can use them. There you guys have it. A lot of dark syrup maple candy. A little darker colored than usual, but still tastes just as good. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Please join us and follow us along. Hit like and subscribe to our channel. Maple syrup season's just around the corner. I can't wait to get started into making some fresh maple syrup. See you guys on the next video.